Okay, so I guess the last part of the tour, which is the first part of the nutrient stream, is these guys, black cod. So these guys are the finfish component of the trial. They're what produces the bulk of the waste. For the cucumbers, which we bring to these holes, which are underneath the cages. And then their small fine particulate waste flows through the farm. We've got a currently a study on this farm. So it goes right through the farm, through the scallops, out to the kelp, and everything hopefully is sucked up. So these guys are just about ready to grade to harvest. We'll be grading these guys to harvest probably in another week or two. And a lot different to salmon these guys. Different feed rates, different growth rates, different feeding behaviour. It doesn't look like it right now because it's all come up, but they're quite a bit different to salmon and they're a pretty new challenge for us. But yeah, nice fish, very nice fish that one. So we've had real little disease with these. They've got little Trophic Aquaculture, which is kind of organic, right? Just a matter of keeping an eye out for it, and they were pretty easy to get rid of that crunch. And other than that, a bit of seal predation, but not too bad really, considering we're on the west coast. Also, I modified these nets with some semi-rigid bottoms, same as creative salmon did. I kind of made my modifications even more, so I came up the side of the net a little bit because these guys, like Chinook, like to hang right down on the bottom of the net. Once they're done feeding, you don't see them and they go right down to the bottom. So we sort of created a basket within the net, or a surrounding around the outside of the net, maybe rigid, up about 3 metres. And that pretty much saves the whole school from getting attacked. So we have had some predation, but really we could have had a lot worse. So also keeping the pens at low density, splitting them down, you know, not skimping on nets, trying to keep all the low density. So they got more room in the pen for growth, and they got more room to get away from sea lions, seals and what have you. They're not pushed to the side all the time. So, you know, some of it's to do with farming, some of it's to do with, you know, in your densities, and some of it's to do with a bit of new net design, and definitely, you know, good weighting on nets helps a lot, right? So, but
yeah, I guess being pushed up against a net can be really hard on them.
yeah, these guys don't have, they have a mucus layer obviously, but not like salmon, and their scales are a lot tighter. They don't scale up near as bad as salmon, so you get less sort of areas for invasion of frunk or any disease, right? So they're quite a bit tougher, and even when you see that they've been bitten, their skin often isn't broken, whereas a salmon would be ripped apart. So they're a bit tougher of a fish, and they're, you know, they're a native fish to the coast. So yeah, they've been a really interesting project to work with. And yeah, we're at the end of it now. We're into the harvest mode. So harvesting every couple of weeks and getting a bit of our feed money back. Anyways, I don't want to feed them too much more because it's not really their day. But that's pretty much the tour, I guess. On the outside of the farm here, those little floats out there. We've got another research student, Emrys, those have all got single droppers of kelp on them. And so what he's measuring is the effluent coming off the farm in all directions, and hopefully picking up the nitrates, so we can say, okay, well, we were right, that is where all the nitrates are going, and this is how much, you know, they spread out. And so it's hopefully when he's done, that's pretty interesting. If you could sort of sit above the farm, they look like they're just sort of dotted everywhere, but if you sat above the farm, you'd see that they sort of go out in tangents, all off, basically centered off these guys, the fish. So it's, I imagine another couple of months he'll be done with that trial because the kelp starts dying off, and we'll find out what the effects are and, you know, what the results are. So yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much the multi-trophic aquaculture tour, West Coast.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being
Very
there.
informative.
The next closest one will be in New Brunswick.
Yeah, the next closest one is New Brunswick. And
Not
they've got,
nearly-
I believe, mussels and...
Salmon.
No, yeah, well, they've got mussels and kelp off Kyuquot Aquaculture salmon farm. So they've got 3 species, if you include the salmon. And we've got 6. So we've...
Yeah.
And then also we've got
Yeah,
some oysters
Kyuquot.
down there as well that were done for a DFO trial that now just sort of sit there and wait for us to eat them because they're done with the trial. So there's, you know, you could add that as a 7th, I guess.
Not a bad pick.
Did you
Yeah,
want to?
really neat project. A lot of work and effort to get it to this point, but you know, hopefully we continue to get funding. Oh, there's the semi-rigid net there. You can see that snow fencing there. So that sort of wraps up around the side of the net from the bottom and right across the bottom as well. See, it's that black snow fencing stuff, eh? So that actually really has worked out pretty well for us. It's a little bit more to handle, a lot of weight to handle. Little hard, you know, harder on your guys and your crew, but certainly has done a pretty good job for us in keeping the black cod.
Oh, we still managed to get it up
down.
without.
Oh yeah, we got
much.
this up by hand, so it's still doable on a 50 by. But when you get into, you know, commercial size 100 bys, you're talking a lot of weight. But you know, there's an old adage from New Zealand that where I come from, that farming stock. The farmer's only as good as his fences. You know, and in a fish cage, that's what you're talking about. That's your main tool, is your fence. So, anyways, that's out here.
Did you want a quick peek at
You
the
want to have a look at the
harvest?
bigger
Or?
guys? The harvest
the
fish?
2.5
Yeah,
kilos.
we'll go over and have a look at that. We'll take a look at the big guys.
This is our grading setup. Pump air through the pipe, draw them out of that end of the pipe, up through and onto the table. And these are the larges ready to go.
Look at them. Guys.
Probably just feed little handfuls, Dave, because
Yep.
I don't want to.
Yep.
You roll them.
Yep.
So these are our big fish. These guys are harvest fish. And I don't want to give them too many pellets, I'll get them coming up for you, but there's a range in here from 2.2 kilo through to about 3.3 kilo. Their average is about 2.5. They're well, maybe a little better. They're only 26 months old, these guys.
Really?
So, you know, for a black cod, the bigger guys are looking really good for their young age, really. No, they grow really quickly when they're small, and then they really slow down in that second year. And so we're normally, I'd be used to these would be gone as a salmon farmer. We're probably looking at another year's worth of growth to get the same sort of size. But yeah, very nice fish. Really quite easy to handle as well. They don't seem to stress out as badly as salmon do, especially not Chinook salmon or coho salmon. No, Dave and I have done low density Chinook trials for Trophic Aquaculture and no, yeah. So yeah, Chinooks are a bit different. These guys behave the same after feeding, but in general they're a lot easier to grow. They can take handling better. Their scales don't fly off at 100 miles an hour. They don't tend to sound or stress when you put them in a seine. They tend to just mellow out and almost school together like they're weighted. You know, you're looking at size variation, mainly because we don't know the life history of the broodstock have come out of the wild to the hatchery. So although they might look like a great fish, you don't really know how old that fish is. It could be a 5-year-old, could be a 7-year-old, looks like a great fish, but then you don't know what the genetics are. So as black cod hopefully goes forward on the coast here, we should see more and more improvement in our stock in general, because you get, you know, with a proper broodstock program, and a few more years from now they'll have cultured brood, and we can start sorting out, and we should see some improvements in growth rates and size and less deformities. There's a few deformities in this bunch of fish, not in these guys, but amongst the population. These guys have been graded out for harvest already, so we're going for the premium, nice looking fish at the moment. But yeah, you know, there's definitely improvements to come in the broodstock and in the fish themselves, but for a wild stock sort of brood, generation, these guys are looking pretty good. But that's enough for you guys, because some of you are going to harvest tomorrow and I don't want to. Okay, so that'll be the end of our multi-trophic aquaculture tour. Kyuquot Seafoods, West Coast.
Alright, with Cora from Fisheries.
Kyuquot from Fisheries.